In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NHL games happening on October 12, 2022, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games. So 2 picks for each game, 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NHL games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive betting picks to take your sports betting journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer anywhere from 1 betting pick a day up to 10 betting picks a day and much more. Now let's get started. Chicago Blackhawks versus Colorado Avalanche. The Colorado Avalanche will begin their title defense when they play the Chicago Blackhawks in their season opener on Wednesday night. The Blackhawks finished the 2021 season with a 56-19-7 record en route to winning the Stanley Cup. The Blackhawks finished with a 28-42-12 record, which was 14th in the Western Conference. Colorado is 8-1 in its last 10 games against Chicago. The Blackhawks struggled last season and dealt with distractions on and off the ice. They replaced head coach Derek King in June, replacing him with longtime assistant Luke Richardson, who they are hoping will help the team get back in contention. But with the team in a rebuilding season, they will have to be patient with him as they take their lumps this season. The Avalanche finished with the second best record in the league last season, but they were able to win the Stanley Cup, giving them the 3rd championship in team history. With most of their championship team coming back, they will try to win consecutive titles for the first time in franchise history, which is easier said than done. The Blackhawks were one of the worst teams in the league last season, and they didn't do much to improve their roster in the offseason, with the team fully embracing a rebuild led by a first-time head coach. They weren't very good offensively last season, and they lost 3 of their top point scorers from a season ago. The Avalanche had one of the best defenses in the league last season, and they're bringing back what is arguably the best defensive front in Francouz, who gave up 2.55 goals per game last season, so don't expect them to have a hard time slowing down the Blackhawks in this game. Chicago also struggled defensively last season, giving up more than 3.5 goals per game. They lost 3 experienced defensemen in the offseason and brought in Jack Johnson, who had 9 points in 74 games with the Avalanche last season. They also weren't very good on special teams, and they're facing an offense that didn't have trouble scoring goals last season and will have a hard time slowing them down. So the Colorado Avalanche to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Blackhawks averaged 2.6 goals per game last season and 2.5 goals per game on the road. They averaged 2.33 goals per game in their last 3 games against the Avalanche. They aren't as talented as they were offensively last season, while the Avalanche, who gave up 2.83 goals per game, is expected to be better than they were a season ago, so expect them to be held under their average in this game. The Avalanche averaged 3.76 goals per game and 4.04 goals per game at home. They averaged 4 goals per game in their last 3 games against the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks had one of the worst defenses in the league last season, giving up 3.33 goals per game on the road, but they are projected to be better this season, so don't expect the Avalanche to score enough goals to push the score past the total. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Seattle Kraken versus Anaheim Ducks. The Ducks host the Kraken in the season opener for both teams, who failed to make the playoffs last season. The Kraken are coming off their inaugural season where they were little expectations, and the team lived up to them. The team struggled on both sides of the ice and had the second fewest wins in the Western Conference. The team made some solid off-season moves, but they are still a lot of question marks. Last season, the Ducks got off to a fast start but fizzled out and finished in second to last place in the Pacific Division, only ahead of the Kraken. The team struggled on both sides of the ice last season. The Kraken and Ducks were 2 of the worst teams in the Western Conference last season, but that doesn't mean they are on similar trajectories. The Kraken are still in just their 2nd year of being a franchise and are just trying to build their organizations and team. Meanwhile, the Ducks have a bright outlook with young skaters such as Trevor Zegras. Anaheim even got off to a decent start last season before slowly declining as it went on. With their offseason moves, the Ducks should get off to another strong start. Being at home for their season opener is certainly a benefit, and it will be the first time for Ducks faithful to watch their new additions. Both Ryan Strome and Frank Vatrano are former Rangers and were a team that performed well above expectations last season. New York made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year before ultimately falling to the Tampa Bay Lightning. That type of experience, along with Troy Terry, should help Zegras continue to progress. Meanwhile, the Kraken didn't do much to boost their goal-scoring ability, which was tied for the fourth worst in the NHL last season. They added Andrei Burakovsky from the Avalanche and Oliver Bjorkstrand from the Blue Jackets, but that is just a small step in comparison to where they started, with the Ducks also remaining stable at the goalie position with John Gibson. They should have no problem with the second worst team in the league last season, so the Anaheim Ducks money line is our full game side pick. One of the primary reasons the Ducks looked solid to begin last season was the play of Gibson. He was among the best goaltenders throughout the first month or two of the season, and his history suggests he should get off to a hot start once again. It certainly helps that he will be facing a Kraken team that failed to score more than 3 goals on the road very often. Seattle was also the 4th lowest scoring team on the road, which is where it will find itself in this season opener. We also have yet to see how the Kraken's new additions will mesh with their current players in a game that matters. Gibson should be the primary factor for this staying under the total, but the Ducks aren't exactly an offensive juggernaut either. They ranked 24th in the league in terms of goals per game last season, and Strome and Vatrano weren't brought in to light up the scoreboard. Neither team was good on the attack last season, and while each made some additions to change that, it will not change in this game. Anaheim will get good defensive play, and while the Kraken will not, they will not get lit up facing a Ducks offense that will go through some growing pains early this season. Anaheim should have racked up more wins this season, but they will likely be in low-scoring fashion. I see some scoring in this game, but not a lot. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Vancouver Canucks versus Edmonton Oilers. The Vancouver Canucks and Edmonton Oilers will each kick off their NHL seasons on Wednesday night in Edmonton. The Canucks are coming off a 92-point season that saw them miss the playoffs in 2021 to 2022. Edmonton, meanwhile, had 104 points last season and got all the way to the Western Conference Finals before falling to the eventual Stanley Cup champions, the Colorado Avalanche. The two teams both have postseason aspirations this season. The Vancouver Canucks missed the playoffs for the second consecutive year in 2021 to 2022, but there was room for optimism by season's end. Late in the season, the Canucks changed coaches and brought in Bruce Boudreau. Under Boudreau, the Canucks finished as one of the best teams in the Western Conference. Perhaps encouraged by their finish, Vancouver's front office kept their key pieces together by re-signing forwards Brock Boeser, Bo Horvat, and J.T. Miller. The Canucks also brought in Andrei Kuzmenko from the KHL on a 1-year deal. He had 5 points in 3 preseason games and looks like a legitimate top-9 forward for the Canucks. If the forwards can produce, the Canucks may be dangerous after allowing the 3rd fewest goals in the NHL last season. The 26-year-old posted a 2.72 goals against average and a .915 save percentage in 64 games last season. One season after making a surprise run to the Western Conference Finals, the Edmonton Oilers will look to make the next step and get back to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time since 2006. They have not taken home the cup since all the way back in 1990. The Oilers think they have sewn up their one major weakness when they signed goalie Jack Campbell in free agency this offseason. Campbell went 3 to -9 last season for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He now joins a team that gave up 3.06 goals per game last season and spent most of their time trying to outscore teams. Outscoring teams is slightly easier with 2-star wings in Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid, but if the high-scoring duo gets solid play from their goaltender, the Stanley Cup may be within reach. Defenseman Evan Bouchard will also need to continue his development as one of the best young blue liners in hockey, and the Oilers want to get past the top teams in the Western Conference. The Oilers have a great chance to showcase their new goaltender and offensive firepower on opening night in front of a frenzied packed house in Edmonton. The Canucks come in with more firepower themselves with some key additions to their roster. In the opener, the Edmonton attack are the more tried and true scoring punch in this one that finished 7th in goals per game last season, 10th in shots per game, and 11th in scoring percentage on shots on net. The Oilers went on to increase those numbers across the board in the playoffs against tougher competition in each round. Vancouver, meanwhile, finished the season just 18th in goals per game and 13th in shots per game. Edmonton will get off early and jump out to an opening night W, so the Edmonton Oilers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Edmonton went 4-0 against the Canucks last season, but each of the 4 games was under this goal total with a high of only 5 combined goals. This season, the Oilers look to be even better in net with Campbell between the pipes, so don't expect a shootout between these two teams. I expect both teams to feature quality goaltending and better play in their own ends. The streak will continue in this game and expect the total not to be reached. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.